Radio, how's it? Nice to have you with us on a Sunday on Mansfield today. And it's time to go gaming and finding out the latest about tech. Our resident here, as usual, Len Neri. Len, nice to see you again, my bud.
And you too.
I don't think most of you understand the partnerships that you have to draw together to put together a studio like this. This is just the front end. You must see the back end of it. I'm going to actually ask Jared, our controller and producer, to show you what goes on in his world. Well, no, let me rephrase that. Not what goes on in Jared's world, because that's a dark world. But what goes on behind the scenes and what it looks like there, because it's not only through NAG that we have a very tight sponsorship and relationship with, but it's also people like MSI, it's people like Matrix, it's people like Tom's who do all the sound for us. It's a hell of a conglomeration of people that you've got to pull together to make something like this work.
Exactly.
So what we're doing is ahead of next year, we're going to get into the guts of the gaming section. We're going to actually start gaming and showing you the latest things and playing with them.
Exactly, yeah.
And not only playing with them on a console, but maybe playing with them in real life as well to see what the comparison is, which could be very interesting.
Yeah. I mean, one of the discussions that you and I had, Jared, was how we're going to bring a racing simulator into the studio. Remember that conversation?
Yeah.
And should we have a double door or a single door in here?
Yeah, exactly. And the thing is that if we something that could work really and be very cool is if there's a new racing simulator game that comes out, for example.
Yeah.
And we take a similar type vehicle, and we take our motoring man Segi Mudley, and we put him onto Kyalami in there, and we do a real-time race between him and another racing driver on the simulator, a virtual one.
Yes.
That could be lekker.
I'm down for that.
I knew you would be. I knew you would be. So in the interim, though, we're introducing you to our partners, and they're showing you some of the new tricks that are coming out. And that's why we're very glad to have Neil Campbell with us, who is your position is the
Business Development Manager for Sub-Saharan Africa, but yeah, South Africa.
Okay, for MSI.
Yes.
Right, nice to have you in the Mansfield Today studio.
Thanks for having me.
Right. Now, this is where you're going to have to take over. This is as far as I go on this sort of thing, because now I know the square root of absolutely nothing about this.
You know, and people like you make the world go round, eh? So it's important that you have this platform and we're able to share some information with the viewers. And so welcome all to the second show of the technology gaming sector.
Yeah.
So as Jeremy said, there's a hell of a lot that goes on in the background to make all of this possible. So yes, next year we're going to get into the meat and bones of some of the technology. Look at how does a graphic card work, how does a water cooler differ to a fan cooler and all that type of stuff inside your son's or daughter's computer, or PlayStation or Xbox or whatever that may be, or even the Nintendo. So MSI have stepped up to the plate, and a lot of the technology in the background is running on MSI product. So firstly, thanks very much for getting involved with the show. Really appreciate it. Can you tell us a bit more about MSI, what you're doing, where you're heading? Give us some insight.
Yeah, so I mean, I joined MSI back in 2015, and back then we were mostly motherboard, graphics card, like the component type products. We obviously also had our notebook team, which is a separate division from ours. But since then, we've introduced a lot of new products. We want to try and do the entire ecosystem in a way. So we've brought out CPU liquid coolers. We've got monitors, chassis, power supplies. We're also getting our SSDs soon as well. MSI branded SSDs.
Oh, that's very cool.
And so the whole machine, at the end of the day, we want to try and get MSI. But our core product has always been the motherboard and the graphics card, which is the core product
And your
for
SSDs,
gaming.
sorry, just pull back to the SSD, they M.2?
Yes,
NVMe, yeah.
NVMe. We've got a couple of ranges that will be available in 2022. Anything from Gen 3 all the way to the Gen 4. Hopefully Gen 5 coming soon as well.
Cool.
So yeah, there's quite a lot planned for next
And if
year.
you're sitting at home watching this and you like, it's the end, blah, whatever, don't stress. Don't stress. We'll go into those details next year. But suffice to say that it's really cool to see that MSI is broadening their product offering. I must say I've been an MSI fan from the first time I started gaming, and one of my fondest memories is sitting in Taiwan and being shown this MSI product at Computex. We hope that we'll be able to have some live events soon.
And we've sat together at Rage quite a few years back already. So
Yes. Yeah.
MSI's come a long way.
Yeah, 100%. So we're excited to see what you brought into the studio today, because
Yes.
I'm kind of licking my lips
Yeah,
here.
you arrived here today like a little child.
Yeah.
And I thought it's a box.
Yeah, well, what I'm going to pull out from underneath this desk and ask Neil to talk about is, mouth-watering. It's the first time I've seen it. I've heard about it. I heard when
It's the first time
DHL
I saw it in person as well.
Oh, okay,
today,
cool.
so-
We both.
Hey, you know what? It's the first time I've seen it in person.
Yeah, so I remember speaking to your guys at the office, and I found out that DHL are delivering a little secret parcel to you guys. So, yeah. Tell us about this thing. Let me pull it out.
Our marketing guy, Mikhail, that gets to see all these products up.
So what is this?
This is our latest CPU liquid cooler, closed loop liquid cooler. We've brought out a couple during this year called the R range. This is the S range. So this is mostly for like a very silent design. So you won't hear it. The fans can also switch off if it's not required.
Okay.
Just to allow it to run cooler. There's no RGB on it.
That means color.
Yeah, so no flashy colors on the fans. Our current R range does have all that, so we do have that available as well.
Yeah.
The coolers are made by Acetec, which is a very respectable cooler brand or OEM manufacturer. And then you also can see it's got the full LED display on the CPU block as well. So that's something very unique, very new.
So tell our audience, why would you need a display on your cooler?
Well, that's completely customizable, so you can run videos on it if you want. But you can also use it to show your CPU temperature, your GPU temperatures, and just all bunch of settings.
See what's going on inside.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah,
Now we've got a cooler in our tower.
You're not getting this one.
No, I'm not saying. But we have a cooler in our tower. As far as I know, this is now techno moron speaking. Okay. As far as I know, the reason why we needed that cooler was because the tower is so powerful, or the
components
the
inside.
components inside are so powerful. They need to be cooled down. Otherwise, they're going to.
But not only that, the other important factor, and Neil touched on it, is it's quiet. So you're sitting in a studio, you don't want to hear
the whole time.
Yes, it cools your components beautifully, but quietly. So it's efficient.
Because I remember when we first moved into the studio and Jared was putting that tower together, and he came in here like you were looking today.
Yeah,
like
Toys Boys.
big eyes. He said, "Look at this, look at this." And I said, "What is it?" He said, "It's the cooler for the tower."
Yeah.
And I said to him at the time, "Why does it only take 3 beers?" I wasn't sure.
Yeah, I guess.
The one that you have is also 360, so it's also the big size like this.
Yeah.
That one does have all the RGBs, so that's why it's super
So you
flashy.
can actually have the flashy lights.
No, it's the-
You don't have the screen on it, but yes, it's got all the little
Yeah,
lights.
so it does have a RGB display on the core block.
Yes.
But that is the Core Liquid 360R.
Okay.
So that's the first one we brought in this year. But we're expanding a lot. I think there's 5 different coolers we have right now.
That's
But now,
very
Neil, who would actually need something like this?
Well, if you go like Core i7 unlocked CPU, you'll be able to overclock a lot further if the CPU is running cooler. It runs a lot more stable, and like Len mentioned, it's a lot quieter. So in the past, you used to have only a fan that used just air to cool the CPU, which can become very noisy. Yeah. And it's sort of a big thing now to make your PC not run fast, but also quiet. And also, one thing I want to mention is that on the 12th gen Intel CPUs,
it's coming out next year.
Also be very powerful. It'll use DDR5 memory, where the current ones are running DDR4. So it can run a lot hotter because it's a lot faster. Most of the CPUs in the 12th gen, especially for gaming, you'll probably run with a liquid cooler to allow it to run cool enough.
Thanks, Neil. And something else to consider. If you buy a processor that is running at X speed, whatever that speed is, right? A year down the line or 3 years down the line, you now install a program, whether that be a design program or a game or whatever, and it needs a faster processor. So what you would do in the past is you'd buy the program, run it, and then start pushing the speed, because you can overclock your processor. So start pushing the speed up of your processor, but by doing that, speed equals heat. So now your fan starts struggling to keep your CPU at the required temperature, and that's where a good cooler makes the difference. It means you can make your CPU faster without compromising the heat, and thereby damaging the CPU. So you actually, a cooler in a way...
It's a protective mechanism.
It is a protective mechanism, and what a cooler does in a way is actually provide longevity for your CPU, which means you can run your CPU over a longer period of time, not have to change your processor because it's just too slow. You can just overclock it. I'm not saying that that is the ultimate solution, but it does give you an option.
Yeah.
So, and you know, as we all talk about, quietness.
And we've actually brought out coolers for our graphics cards as well, because some of the graphics cards can also run extremely hot. We've got different ranges graphics cards, so depending on obviously your budget, but also how efficient cooling you require. There's also an EK range that uses EK open loop cooling solution that you can, because this CPU is closed loop, so all you need is you just need to install it, and the water coolant's already in the pipes. There's nothing you need to do, but you can also have an open loop system where you install your own coolant, you connect the pipes yourself. We've got graphics cards that uses that as well. But obviously that's a bit more for
the enthusiast.
Enthusiasts, exactly.
So if I may explain kind of what's going on here, you can have the closed loop is like a closed cell. You don't need
closed cell battery. You just put it in the flash.
Great example. Great example. Now imagine an open cell battery where you can see through it, so the pipes are see through, and you decide you want to have purple liquid, green liquid. Those are the kind of things that you can start doing, you know.
But then you need to know what you're doing.
Yeah,
100%.
It's a different type of market.
No, I'll take that one.
Yeah, and it's gorgeous, and it does what it needs to do. So Neil, I'm super happy that you've come in studio today, and we've touched on some new product that's going to come next year. Is there anything that you would like to add?
I think just the main thing is that we're expanding a lot as a company, a lot of new products. Like I said, we've got the notebook division, which is a separate department from ours. But ours is called CND, so it's computing and display. And since we started with monitors, we decided to have a full ecosystem. So it's not only where we only add the motherboards and graphics cards, you can get almost anything MSI now, full MSI machine. And hopefully by next year we can have everything to build a machine, except for the CPU, of course.
And chassis and all of that, yeah?
So we'll have, we already have chassis available, we already have power supplies that's just landed in the country now. SSDs is around the corner. I think we should be getting it in the next 2 weeks or so.
Yeah.
So exciting.
Now we get it first, right?
Of course.
Yeah, it's on the spot.
Man.
On the spot.
Neil, thank you very much for coming into the
Thanks a
Mansfield
lot,
Today studio, and thank you for bringing your latest baby with you.
Thank you.
Fascinating.
Thank you.
Good one, Len.
Thanks, Jay.
Nice one. We see you next week.
Yeah, we see you next week. And I just want to say that Neil has spoken about the notebook division, and we'll next year I'm sure bring 1 or 2 notebooks in with the notebook guys and showcase some new product from them as well.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
That's what we do on this show. We take a look at the new stuff that's coming into the country, and we also take a look at the gaming sector as well. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, please subscribe, and we'll catch you next Sunday on the Gaming Show right here on Mansfield Today. Until then, bye-bye.